Today, our opening words are "We Belong to Each Other" by Reverend Gretchen Haley. We are keepers of hope, holders of memory, storytellers and song weavers, pulling on this thread of truth, this other march of history that might otherwise fail to find its footing. That life is filled with kindness, bold beauty, courageous compassion, sacrifice for the common good, and a wide willingness to embrace neighbors and strangers as kin. We are here to do the work of hope, remembering the past, remembering ourselves, imagining our most possible future for this life that teeters too often on the edge of forgetting. We belong to each other. Bring all you are, every shadow and every light, every hope, every fear, for this radiant hour. Come, let us be hope for each other. Come, let us worship together. Good morning. I am today's worship associate, Jen Dean. As you may know, this is my first time up here, so I am sorry. I'm nervous, but I fake it well. I use the pronouns she and her, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Lakeland.
Okay, I'm Heather Norby. I am the Spiritual Life Director for this congregation, and I also use the pronouns she and her. Our mission here at UUCL is love plus connection equals transformation. So I call you now into the connection part by lifting up some of the opportunities for being together that are happening around here real soon. And please note that there are more announcements, or the same announcements, on the back of your order of service. Our board meeting has been postponed until next week, we think, the 14th. We're just trying to gather all the board members at the same time, which is difficult this month. This Wednesday, right here in our sanctuary at 6:30 p.m. is Popcorn Theology, and you'll be showing the movie Oppenheimer. I mean, I showed Barbie, so now he has to show Oppenheimer, so that's how it goes. Saturday, April 20th, there's two things going on. First of all, UUCL will be hosting here in our sanctuary or on our patio a yard sale, but it'll be different from the last yard sale. This is a yard sale at which you can set up your own table and sell your own stuff and make your own money. So that's Saturday, April 20th. I think it's from 9 to 3, and you can contact Dorothy, who's not here today, but you can email her. The email's on the back of the order of service if you need more information or would just like to participate. Also, on Saturday, April 20th, from 10 a.m. to noon at the Lakeland Women's Health Center on South Florida Avenue is a teach-in for Yes on 4, where you can learn about the state of abortion access in Florida, how to talk about the amendment, and how to craft your personal story with the team. So join them on Saturday, April 20th, to learn more about how you can limit government interference with abortion in your home community. Also, our annual meeting is May 5th. That is just under a month away. So we ask that all members be there to vote and to discuss the things that we're voting on. This is our yearly meeting where we do important business. This year, of course, is important, especially important because we'll be talking about and voting on the Article 2 amendments that are happening in June on the association level. All right. And remember, our e-newsletter comes out every Monday. Thank you, Marcia. So if you are not receiving it and would like to, please sign up in the hallway. Thank you. And Jen will get our chalice then.
So we are going to do our chalice lighting. Let us light our chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, to gather us all anew in this sacred space. Let this flame remind us that we belong to one another, and that each one of us carries the light of hope within. As Sage comes forward to light our chalice, let us sing and sign Spirit of Life, hymn number 123.
Well, it's now that time for our message for all ages. The young and the young at heart may come forward. Thank you, Petra. You're welcome. Violet, this is the part where this is the story about the sky. Yes. Yeah. She got a teaser before the service. This is a story. It's a Nigerian folktale. Do you know where Nigeria is? No. It's in Africa. It's called Why. It's in Florida. It's called Why the Sky is Far Away. In the beginning, the sky was close to the earth. So close, you could reach up and touch it. And you could eat it. What? You'll find out. In those days, people always had enough to eat without ever having to work for it. Men and women did not have to plow the fields and sow the seeds and gather the crops. Children did not have to fetch sticks for the fire. Whenever anybody was hungry, they just reached up and tore off a piece of the sky. But people grew careless with the sky's gifts. They broke off more than they needed. After all, the sky was so big there would always be enough for everybody. Who cared about a little wasted sky? But the sky cared. Soon the sky's sorrow turned to resentment, and its resentment grew to anger. I offer myself every day to these people, the sky brooded, and they throw me away half-eaten like garbage. People of earth. The sky's eyes flashed like lightning. Clouds bubbled and boiled. You have not treated me with respect. You have wasted my gifts. I warn you, if you are greedy, I will leave. I will move far away. The people listened, and they promised to be more careful. After that, no one broke off more than they could eat, and they always remembered to thank the sky. But then the time came for the greatest festival of the year in honor of the chief of the kingdom. The night rang with music. Bells clanged and drums banged. People stamped and clapped and laughed. The tables were heaped with dishes of specially prepared sky. Sky in every flavor, from custard apple to cocoa plum. There was plenty for everyone, for the sky was generous. It trusted the people to take only what they needed. But there was one woman who was never satisfied. Osato always wanted more. Her arms were heavy with brass bracelets, but brass wasn't good enough for her. She wanted coral beads, and most of all, she loved to eat. First, she helped herself to a handful of noon yellow sky that tasted like pineapple. Chunk after chunk disappeared into her mouth. Then she ladled out some sky stew, spicy and warm. She lifted the dish to her lips, draining it, dumplings and all. Soon her stomach was stuffed. She loosened her robe. What next? Delicate slices of morning sky, pink and glistening. With a swift movement, she scooped them up and slurped them down all at once. At last, the tables were empty, and Osato was full. She waddled home. She was full to bursting, but her eyes kept wandering up to the sky. What would it taste like right now? Citrus storms? Her taste buds tingled. Luscious mango? Her mouth watered. Honey sunsets? She licked her lips. Her fingers began to pull out her spoon, the one she kept tucked in her headscarf. Just in case. She stopped herself just in time. Osato knew that the sky offered itself only because no one ever took more than they needed. And she knew she didn't need any more. But oh, how she wanted some. Just one more spoonful. The sky is so huge, Osato said to herself. It can't hurt to just have a little bit more. She pulled out her spoon and plunged in. She savored a mouthful of sky and another. She threw down her spoon and scooped with her hands, sucking the delicious sky from her fingertips. Finally, without another thought, Osato pulled down a great slab of sky, enough to feed a family for weeks. She licked all around the edges, chewing more slowly now. She stared up at the huge hole above her. She stared down at the enormous mound of sky, and she knew she had taken more than she could ever eat. Above her head, there were rumblings. What have I done? Osato gasped. I cannot waste this sky. What shall I do? She called to her husband to help, but he had been feasting too and was slumped in his chair, too full even to move. Still, he managed a few mouthfuls. She called to her children to help, but they too were full from the wonderful feast. Still, they forced down a few fingerfuls. She called to her neighbors to help, but they had been at the festival too, and at the sight of more food, they held their stomachs and groaned. But they ate as much as they could, with worried frowns on their faces and anxious glances above their heads. But even with the help of the entire village, they could not eat that last piece of sky. Osato had taken too much. What does it matter, Osato told herself at last. Just a bit of waste. But the feeling in the pit of her stomach told her otherwise. No one slept well that night. The next morning, what do you think the sky did? Maybe. The sky did not offer food to the people. Parents had nothing for breakfast. Children cried, hungry. Osato knelt on the ground, rocking and sobbing. I'm so sorry. But the sky just sighed. With a great rush of air, it lifted itself up, high as the treetops, high as the mountaintops. High above the earth rose the sky, far beyond the reach of humans. I gave you all you needed, its voice floated down to Osato, but you still took more. I cannot stand such greed. I must leave. I will not return. But how will we live, wept Osato. What will we eat? There was silence. Osato's tears fell to the earth, and the earth spoke. Dry your tears, it said gently. I can feed you, but you will have to work for your living. You will have to learn to plow fields and sow seeds and harvest crops. And remember what you have learned today. Take only what you need, and I will give it gladly. Oh, I will, promised Osato through her tears. I'll never take more than I need, ever, ever again. The end. So, as humans, do you think we still don't take more than we need from the earth? Okay. I think that answers my question. I think we do tend to take more than we need from the earth. What's going to happen? Nobody wants to go there. The earth is going to leave. The earthquakes in New York? Yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah. I think the lesson is we really have to be mindful about what we do, about what we take more than we need. What do you think? She's like, I just like this bucket on my head. Thank you. All right, that's it. That's the end. You want to pick up? Okay, are you going out? You can also put a stone into the bowl of water before you leave if you'd like to. All the colors of the rainbow she put in. Because we love, we experience joys and sorrows. Taking the time to reflect on this, to get in touch with what truly moves us, is a transforming experience. And so we turn now to reflect upon our joys and sorrows of the past week and to weave together our threads of love. In our Joys and Sorrows book, you are able to write any significant joy or sorrow occurring in your life that you would like to share with the congregation. It sits on the table at the entrance of the sanctuary before the service, and I read from it before we take the time to participate in our weekly ritual. And Petra says she would like to share hope for everyone who is dealing with uncomfortable situations. Thank you, Petra. So I'll invite you now to come forward and place a colored stone representing your joys, concerns, and sorrows into the water. Let the many colors of our joys and sorrows mingle together, symbolizing the great adventure of our lives.
You? Okay. John Muir wrote, "Between every two pines is a doorway to a new world. Here we gather, tucked back in this friendly neighborhood between the beautiful tall pines. Together we are a community that can create a doorway to a new world. We do this through the relationships we build and the love we express with our time, talent, and treasure. Centered in love, we can renew and transform this world spiritually and ethically towards joy for all. So in this moment, we will take up an offering that will assist us on this journey." Petra? Thank you, Tim. So now is time for our reading, and I went through the internet about our topic today, and all of a sudden I got really ambitious and asked if I could write something. So this is actually an essay written by me. So positive, we're talking about interdependence. That's our monthly theme. The theme, that's the word I was looking for. Theme for the month. So positive interdependence, technological transformation, and global cooperation are entwined forces shaping our digital world. As we navigate this landscape, collaboration and thoughtful policies will be essential for a prosperous and inclusive future. Positive interdependence is a concept often associated with cooperative learning and collaborative efforts. It refers to a situation where individuals or groups work together in a way that their success is mutually dependent. In other words, the success of one person or group directly impacts the success of others. Over the past decade, we've witnessed a profound transformation driven by digital technologies. According to the United Nations Foundation, software, once described as eating the world, has now become a central force in global economies and geopolitics. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres issued a roadmap emphasizing collaboration for positive global digital transformation. This roadmap identifies areas where international cooperation can drive progress. Positive interdependence is a cornerstone of collaborative practice in various domains, including business, science, and education. In business, technology allows us to do things such as enhance efficiency, improve communication, increase reach, provide data-driven insights, and simplify processes, just to name a few. Science and technology are intertwined, each propelling the other forward in a fascinating dance of discovery and innovation. Technologies enable us to make fresh observations about the world, leading to new scientific knowledge. Some examples are the invention of the cathode ray tube in the 1800s, which led to the discovery of electrons and the atomic nucleus, and the invention of the X-ray machine, which not only revolutionized medical diagnoses, but also is applied in archaeology, paleontology, and astronomy. Modern uses of technology in science are DNA sequencing, which has been used to discover evolutionary relationships, and the creation of research and labs that have accelerated scientific progress. Technology has revolutionized the education landscape in numerous ways, enhancing learning experiences and empowering both educators and students. According to Stanford Graduate School of Education Dean Dan Schwartz, technology has led to universal access, allowing educational content to be available to learners worldwide. With the creation of virtual reality and artificial intelligence, fundamentally new ways of teaching that create personalized learning and engaging lessons are being explored. Technology in education even brings the world together through global learning communities and addresses the issues of equity and inclusion by providing devices to underserved communities, offering digital resources in multiple languages, and ensuring accessibility for students with disabilities. But how can we, those of us in this room, work together and use technology to make a difference in our own communities? Smartphones and the internet have brought knowledge sharing to our fingertips. If Mama Ashley Rose or any marginalized communities are having fundraising events, help promote them by clicking on share, or copy the event information and email it or text it to some friends. Technology empowers us by giving us the means to create change. We can find causes we care about, build partnerships, and multiply impact. There are numerous political groups out there, such as the Rainbow Ridge LGBTQA Democratic Caucus of Polk County, who are endlessly fighting for fairness and equity and are working to make sure that the constituents that prioritize these traits are voted for. Anytime these groups are asking for help, not only participate, but also use technology to spread the word and get friends, neighbors, and family to do so also. Did you know the Red Tent Initiative Lakeland has Red Tent Wellness Wednesdays, where self-love and self-care events are held on the third Wednesday of every month? Neither did I. Do you know how I found out? By using technology, the internet. This is an event far more people should know about. How do we make this happen? Share the information through email, texts, and social media. Doing so increases digital inclusion and decreases the digital divide. By spending a few minutes spreading the word, you may also be increasing mental health care access, having a positive impact on public safety, improving education about domestic abuse, assault, and trafficking, improving community engagement, and increasing the need for volunteer coordination. While I have mentioned a few ways that technology can be used to foster positive interdependence and make change in the world, there are so many more. Smartphones and social media platforms do not have to be tools that make people socially inept. Tools used to spread conspiracy theories, harm the mental health of numerous populations, and create divides among humanity. Technology can empower individuals, each one of us, foster collaboration within UUCL, our communities, and the world, and address critical community needs such as hunger, the unhoused, and underrepresented population equality. By leveraging technology and digital tools, we can create a more connected, resilient, and compassionate world. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Well, thank you, Jen. I appreciate your TED Talk and your enthusiasm about jumping into this subject of interdependence, the technology, and what it means to be human with me today. So with that, I have some centering questions for us. Questions that we can think about as we explore interdependence, technology, and being human. What does it mean to become more connected? The internet has connected us in ways we may have never imagined. We can communicate with one another across the globe as easily as we can with someone next door. But do we know what true connectedness really looks like? With technology, we have the opportunity to learn so much about other humans, but do we? Do we create resilience from our differences, or just division? How curious are we? Or do we just become more critical? Do we center compassion, connecting emotionally and spiritually, or is that too overwhelming in a world of hyperconnectivity and easy access to knowledge and information? When we connect online, are we intentional about living our values, or do they just get lost in the deep ocean of doom scrolling and despair? These phones, these little things we carry in our pockets are amazing tools, like nothing this world has seen before. But when we pick them up, are we being intentional about how we use this amazing tool? Or are we mindlessly scrolling through whatever app we habitually open just for something to do? Kind of like just eating the sky because it's there. If we are not intentional about using this tool, then how are we allowing it to shape us? And the bigger questions I have for you today are, how has technology shaped our faith, our religious ethics, and our individual spirituality? How has it shaped our answer to the question, what does it mean to be human? I asked Alexa. Alexa, are we humans special among other living things? Alexa's answer was, humans are considered unique among other living things due to our exceptional cognitive abilities and processing power which far surpass those of other species. Our big brains and advanced intelligence have enabled us to become omnivores and thrive in a wide range of environments. While other species may possess their own unique qualities and abilities, humans are widely recognized for our intellectual prowess. Well, first of all, Alexa used the possessive determiner our as she spoke, as if she, as artificial intelligence, were included in our humanity. Our exceptional cognitive abilities, our big brains, and our intellectual prowess. That's given me the eerie feeling that I'm in some kind of science fiction movie and I hesitate to ask her any more questions. So I didn't. But putting that aside, if we think about what she is saying, we may come to the understanding that being human means having cognitive abilities that support our adaptation to the wide variety of environments we may find ourselves in on this earth. As humans, we've been able to think about our environments, our needs within those environments, and to problem solve so that our needs are met. Part of this problem-solving process is the invention and usage of tools. And through this process of invention, our brains have evolved, and our environments have changed drastically. To emphasize our incredible impact on the Earth, scientists have drawn up an analogy that tells the story of our planet's 4.7 billion year history as if it were the 24 hours of a single day. This particular version is from the BBC. If you assume that the Earth coalesced an instant after midnight, it took around 4 hours for the first life to appear. Microscopic organisms clustered around hydrothermal vents beneath young oceans. It took 5 more hours for photosynthesis to begin, and until midday for the atmosphere to become rich in oxygen. By 1800 hours, that's 6 p.m., we had sexual reproduction. At 2200 hours, that's 10 p.m., the first ever footprints appeared on land left by lobster-sized sort of centipedes. And by 2300 hours, that is getting close to midnight, the dinosaurs had arrived. Only to exit 40 minutes later, alongside 3/4 of Earth's species in the planet's 5th mass extinction. Since then, the day's remaining 20 minutes have seen the rise of the mammals with something semi-human, they call them hominids, existing for about the last minute. That's 3 million years in real terms. Recorded history has lasted for the last 1/10 of a second, and the Industrial Revolution the last 5/1000th of a second, by which point our analogy is fast becoming too microscopic to be useful. What is significant about telling the story of our planet in this way is that we get a sense of just how impactful humans and our intellectual prowess have been. That if Earth's existence was only 24 hours, it's taken only microseconds for humans to radically alter it. It is perhaps easy to feel regretful about this, that humans have changed our ancient and extraordinary Mother Earth in devastating ways, that we have decimated other species, and we do incredible harm to one another. Like in the story we heard earlier, we've taken too much. We may wonder, what is our intellectual prowess for, really? Well, I would argue our cognitive abilities are an evolutionary gift, passed down from our hominid ancestors over millions of years. As the sky commanded to the humans in the story, we just have to use the gift wisely. Early hominids like Homo habilis were sharpening tools 2.5 million years ago, most likely for food usage, to crack open nuts or scrape meat from a bone. Tool usage probably started with our basic need to eat and evolved from there into myriad ways to support our lives. While tools have provided us with ways to meet our basic needs, we also have learned how to create tools that assist us in interacting with the world and each other, extending and amplifying our experience of reality. We have essentially co-evolved with technology. We have created it, and it has created us. Our human evolution has been interdependent with the technologies we have created and used. Some philosophers have proposed that technological progress is inevitable. Marx and Engels describe a process by which the activity and instruments used to satisfy the initial human need to meet the conditions of material life themselves become needs-demanding satisfaction. As BBC's Tom Chatfield states, alone among species, humans can consciously improve and combine their creations over time, and in turn extend the boundaries of consciousness. It is through this process of recursive iteration that tools become technologies, and technology a world-altering force. Technology is uniquely powerful and uniquely needy. It embodies an ever-expanding network of dependencies, and in this sense, it invents many more needs than it serves, with both its requirements and its capacities growing at an exponential rate compared to our own. Does that mean we resign in the face of the seemingly overwhelming force? Or can we control it? In reality, it's probably not an either-or. And this is where a serious reflection on our religious ethics and Unitarian Universalist values should be an intentional part of how we proceed. To be human is to have technology, but it is also to be intentional about its usage. We stand on the precipice of a world heavily impacted and infused by artificial intelligence. Yet we can help shape this world. Artificial intelligence is a tool. It is the culmination of about 300,000 years, that's how long Homo sapiens has been on this earth, of human intelligence and technological invention. It's exciting, and it's also daunting. But we must remember, behind artificial intelligence is human intelligence. A New York Times article by Linda Kinsler points out that the tech industry is a stereotypically secular industry in which traditional belief systems are considered things to be hidden away at all costs. What's interesting is that Kinsler interviewed people at the intersection of technology and faith, and she found people with a religious background who have entered the tech world and people who left the tech world and went to seminary. One man who worked at IBM told her, "My boss told me to do the right thing, and I suddenly realized that I don't know enough theology to be a good engineer." He left the industry to study the Bible. The humans actively involved in the research and development of advanced artificial intelligence have beliefs, and these beliefs inevitably filter into the technologies they create. Everyone has a worldview. Why do we pretend that our cultures, theologies, and value systems can be removed from the work we do and the tools and technologies we create? Despite our superior cognitive abilities, I would argue that remaining purely objective is not actually a human characteristic. Alexa says that to be human is to be an intellectual being, but she left out that we are also emotional and spiritual beings, and a theology of interdependence informs us that we cannot separate one from the other. Thankfully, wise humans know this. There's an interfaith organization called AI and Faith, and it's already been formed by individuals who have experience in both the tech and the religious worlds. As Kinsler writes, its members do not have prescriptions for how AI should be built or rigid policy goals. All they want is an opportunity to participate in a conversation that is already unquestionably and indeterminately altering all of our interior lives. The goals the group does have are classically liberal ones, she writes. They do not want to see advanced technology marshaled toward even greater surveillance, accelerated inequality, and widespread disenfranchisement. Technological advances will require mindful conversations in which we engage our differences, our needs, and our desires. Like we heard in our story earlier, if we take too much without thinking about it, greed will alter our lives in destructive ways. Indeed, it already has, and too many people have and are suffering. Our lives and the fate of humanity are caught up in a sacred interdependence with the technologies we create and the values that shape how they are used. To be human is to be caught up in an interdependent web in which technological development and our spiritual and ethical selves are integral parts. It can be called a sacred entanglement, and there's no undoing it. There's only moving forward towards more complex and hopefully more justice-filled possibilities. So how should we engage the religious ethics of Unitarian Universalism to assist in shaping outcomes in this interdependent world? In a sense, we can guide human evolution, and because of that, I don't think we should be quiet about our faith and our UU values. Perhaps the purpose of us becoming more connected through the technologies we have invented is to raise our awareness of how to become more intelligent about shaping this process. I want to return to something Jen wrote. She said, as we navigate this landscape, collaboration and thoughtful policies will be essential for a prosperous and inclusive future. Positive interdependence is a concept often associated with cooperative learning and collaborative efforts. It refers to a situation where individuals or groups work together in a way that their success is mutually dependent. In other words, the success of one person or group directly impacts the success of others. Do you believe that is the way to be? I think that is why our mission statement is love plus connection equals transformation. And it is why we do work to connect with organizations in the world like Jen mentioned, like Red Tent and like Rainbow Ridge and Mama Ashley Rose. There's a lot of work for us to do in this world, and before we get out there and start doing it, we're gonna sing. We're gonna sing hymn number 2. Is it 207? Earth was given as a garden. It is in your gray hymnal. And our musicians will lead us. Yes? Oh. All right. Well, Jason will work on getting the right verses up, but we got hymnals.
Go to hymnal. This is the third verse. We're not going to start with these words right away. There we go. Oh, yeah, there we go. Great, thank you. Earth was given as a garden, cradle for humanity, tree of life and tree of knowledge, place for our discovery. Here was home for all your creatures, born of land and sky and sea, all created in your image, all to live in harmony. Come to us again, the garden, forever. One more time. Show to us again the garden, where all life flows fresh and free. Gently guide your sons and daughters into full maturity. Teach us how to trust each other, how to use for good our power, how to touch the earth with presence, and once more we'll even fly. Bless the earth and all your children, one creation makes us whole. Interwoven, overlanded, blended wide and in the soul. Holy Mother, life bestowing, fill our ways and wealth and seas. Fill us from the grace overflowing. Teach us how to live in
Thank you. Our 7th UU principle reads, "We affirm and promote respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are all a part." It's good, but I don't believe that it is enough anymore to simply say we respect the interdependent web of all existence. Looking at time and how rapidly things are changing means we must engage our faith in more aspects of our evolution before it's too late. Technology will keep developing at an increasingly rapid pace. Ignoring that instead of engaging that would be detrimental. So has technology changed our faith? Technology has connected us to humans around the world, and with that we have become more aware. And that awareness has changed our faith and how we enact it. We have become acutely aware of the injustices happening all around the world. We belong to a faith that has always stood up to injustice. And in just the last 30 years, technology has changed how we witness it and what we do about it. Technology has altered our worldviews, our spiritual lives, our ethics. And if you are one that asks, why are we changing our principles? I may answer it, well, it's because we are not the same as we were in 1985 when they were written. Our awareness of one another is not the same. Our connections are not the same. Technology is not an evil. Technology is a part of being human. It always has been, and it always will be, but it is also not a force over which we have no control. And so the UUA's Article 2 revisions seem to be acutely aware of this. You may call them wordier than our principles, but given the significant impact we have had on this earth in such a short amount of time, they are necessary if we are to contribute to and guide the conversation about humanity's future. And so we find the value of interdependence in the new wording of Article 2, and it reads like this. We honor the interdependent web of all existence. We covenant to cherish Earth and all beings by creating and nurturing relationships of care and respect. With humility and reverence, we acknowledge our place in the great web of life, and we work to repair harm and damaged relationships. I think those are the words that we need in order to move forward in this increasingly complex technological world. Well, I really appreciated that Jen engaged in the subject today, and also Tim sent me something, and so I asked him to read it. I'm a little bit confused on who wrote it. It says, composer, Let It Ripple, a nonprofit film studio led by Webby Awards founder and Emmy-nominated and Sundance filmmaker Tiffany Schlain. Just want to put out those acknowledgments, but nevertheless, Tim's going to read it.
A declaration of interdependence demonstrates the vast potential of collaboration in the 21st century. When in the course of human events, it becomes increasingly necessary to recognize the fundamental qualities that connect us. Then we must reevaluate the truths we hold to be self-evident, that all humans are created equal and are connected, that we share the pursuits of life, liberty, happiness, food, water, education, justice, and hopes for a better future. That our collective knowledge, economy, technology, and environment are fundamentally interdependent. That we will propel us forward as a species is our curiosity, our ability to forgive, our ability to appreciate, our courage, and our desire to connect will ultimately help us evolve to our fullest common potential. And whereas we should take our problems seriously, or we should never take ourselves too seriously, because another thing that connects us is our ability to laugh and our ability to learn from our mistakes. We can learn from the past and use our collective knowledge to create a better future. So perhaps it's time that we as a species who love to laugh and ask questions and connect do something radical and true. For centuries, we have declared independence. Perhaps it's now time to declare that we as humans declare our interdependence to one another.
So now we're going to extinguish the chalice. So if Sage would like to come up and do that. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world. And we're going to have our closing song.